It's better to learn that when you are still young, so that when you do get these high volume of orders and
you're
big
prepared
clients,
for it.
I mean, you're prepared for it.
Yeah. So you started officially in 2013, you said. So within the past 5 years, has it gotten easier or not?
It never gets easier. It only gets tougher, because when you start as an upcoming designer, now no one knows you. You're trying to work yourself up to the top, and you work hard. You get to the top, or you get to the middle of the top, or however you call it, the ladder. And then the expectation grows higher. You know, you need to always deliver. Remember, at the end of the day, it's always about making the client happy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And these are people who are paying a lot of money. They could go to someone else, but they went to you. So it's always about always trying to be consistent and doing the best that you can at each and every garment you produce.
Yeah. What still surprises you till today about being a designer? If there is anything that surprises you.
There is. Why am I still doing it? I'm joking. What still surprises me is that the love I still have for fashion. You know, at school it's bigger. When you grow into the business, when you become a business person, a businessman, it becomes, well, there's too many responsibilities around you, because you have to make sure that people are getting paid and your name has to get out there. But the love is still there. You know, some people would easily say, no, it's okay. I'm fine, because it's a tough industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what still surprises me is that I still have the love for fashion. I mean, I stay at night with my friend, Nevio, which is a very good friend of mine. We would sit on the internet, just Googling and checking what people are doing overseas, and screenshotting pictures. And for me, that, if I still have it, then yeah.
Is that what it takes to always have an edge? Always knowing what's current, what's relevant, what's probably about to hit season into season?
Very important. And what I've learned from Ken Sunny is that when you start a business, you can't know everything. So you need to find people who's going to structure your business and become what you need it to be. So every time I go into a fashion week, like now that I'm doing Cape Town next week, Cape Town Fashion Week, I try to find a lot of service providers. Like I get a stylist. Last year I worked with Cassandra Sisani. I work with different people to kind of group in, and we produce a better product. Yeah.
I'd have to say, I mean, I'm going to have to go back to the, people that you serve as clients and all of that, right? And we always, every time we have somebody coming in talking about business and all of that, we're always talking about the good side of things. Yeah. Talk about the bad side of things. I mean, your first biggest boo-boo that you did with a client, the worst client that you've ever really, you don't have to mention names, but what was the situation there? What was your biggest challenge, trying to come up with stuff for someone? I mean, not every client is a sweet, awesome, understanding client. So what was your first biggest challenge and boo-boo with regards to clients?
I had to do bridesmaids dresses. And I think that was my first year in business. And at the time, I didn't have anyone who was helping me with production. And at the time, I had to, it was crazy. So I bought fabric, and it was not the right quality of fabric. Because remember, at the time, you charge less, you know what I mean? And a client expects higher.
Yeah.
And coming to fitting, it was a disaster. They just said, no, this is not how it's going to go. This is not how it's going to go down. And they were not saying, we want my money back. We want our money back. They were saying, you are going to go back to the store and buy better fabric with us together. And we will choose the fabric that we want. Because the structure is there, but the fabric is awful. So at the time I'm thinking, I don't have the money because I've used it,
So what do you do in that situation?
I had to, borrow money somewhere to go buy fabric with them eventually. And then the product was smooth. And that's the lesson I've learned from that day. I would never forget. Every time I get a client, I introduce in my contract is that you choose that you come with me to fabric shopping. That
To
you choose
avoid
the fabric. Yeah.
Repetition.
Hard lessons. Hard lessons.
Yeah.
All right. Going forward, though, the AFI Cape Town Fashion Week. Tell us a little bit more about this. How you feel about it? Is this your first time going into this? If it is, what should people expect with regards to what you're offering?
So Cape Town Fashion Week, it's our second edition at Cape Town Fashion Week. This is actually my fourth edition of the Cities Dance Fashion Week.
Okay.
So we are showcasing Princesses Beyond the Grave. Princesses Beyond the Grave, it's a collection inspired for women empowerment, how legends like Audrey Hepburn, Princess Diana inspire women of today in like becoming CEOs, celebrities, and all of that. So the collection, it's a 16-piece collection happening on Saturday on the 24th at the Salt River Studios at 9:30. Yeah.
And there's something else that I know you also get involved in towards the end of the month. I believe you're going to Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm off to Arise Fashion Week.
Oh.
Arise Fashion Week, along with Gavin Raja, Rita Nisi, Kluk CGDT, Makosa Laduma. I'll be showcasing on Saturday. It's quite a big deal. Yeah, and I think they're bringing Naomi Campbell.
Oh, it is a big deal
It
then. Are you ready? Can you ever be ready for such an occasion? I need to ask you this though, something that you often did say quite a number of times. I don't know if you were aware of it or not, but you always said you need to get your name out there. How do you go about getting your name out there? Because that's the most important thing about being a designer. It's the difference between being average and great.
So I believe it starts with the quality, because if you're happy with the product, you tell someone else. You know what I mean? And then slowly it becomes the way you start dressing celebrities, doing fashion weeks.
But how do you approach celebrities? Because many people can say, hey, I've got this great dress for Pearl Tusi, but how do you get to Pearl Tusi?
Sure. Yeah, I will tell you a story about that. Yeah, well, there is people called stylists who like style celebrities,
yes,
where they come to you and they're always like consistently looking for a young emerging designer. So I got to meet Jose Listijo, who introduced me to Bonang, and from there I never looked back. Yeah. So you constantly try and produce collections according to like the inspiration that you have.
Yeah.
And people are looking, but most important, the advice that I give is that always focus on quality. It's important because you can get a stylist and a celebrity sees the dress and it's like, nah,
it's not my thing.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, one last question from my side. What personality do you need to have to sustain yourself, to keep afloat in this industry, which is basically a dog-eat-dog world?
Dog-eat-dog world.
Yeah.
Always be consistent. And I always feel like you need to, when the thing is that you are a designer, but you run a business, so you need to learn the tricks of becoming a businessman in order to run a business. Because the problem is that you have this fabulous taste, and like you have Dior, which is a company that hires designers to produce collections that are going to sell. But in that they have like finance, marketing, so you need to be all of that in one. So if you know all of that to run your business smoothly, then
sky's the limit.
the sky is the limit, darling.
Well, we've got 14 minutes before the end of the show, and the office battle's still coming. But just to quickly wrap up with regards to Made with Orapeleng Modutle. For me, this is the part of the show, or at least the conversation, where I ask, what is your philosophy in life? What is your motto? What words do you live by?
In God, I live and move and have my being. I think I got that from my angel. Everything is possible with God and hard work.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, and all the best in Nigeria.